great asset in America. Mansions, yachts, a Bentley, your life has insurance. But the difference is you pay into that insurance forever and never really cash it out. You know what else needs insurance? NFL teams at quarterback, Michael Penix. But the difference with this insurance policy, you'll pay into it for a year, and then it potentially will pay you for the next 15 and make you rich. And that's a bad investment. It's an insurance policy for a year, and then it's going to pay you potentially year 2 to year 15. Who cares if Kirk Cousins upset that they drafted Michael Penix? Aaron Rodgers was upset when they drafted Jordan Love. Favre was upset when they drafted Aaron Rodgers, and they're both better than Kirk Cousins, and they were both in their prime. Kirk's not. Who cares if he's upset? He's made more money, seriously, than Brady at quarterback. He'll get over it. This is not a catastrophe. When's the last time you heard a team say this? We have the best quarterback in our division and maybe the best backup in the NFL. That's a problem. For the record, you know who teams didn't move up to get? J.J. McCarthy. Even Minnesota liked him, moved up one spot. Reportedly, Seattle, the Raiders, and the Saints all tried to move up into the top 10 to get Pennix. I'm sorry. A disaster is paying Dak $385 million, which the Cowboys may do in a year. Paying Kirk Cousins off an Achilles surgery at 36 in a bad division, $180 million, getting him to play for a year, win 10, 11 games, and then he gets beat out by Pennix. That's a disaster? Again, Green Bay a few years ago, with Aaron in his late prime, moved up to a quarterback that two of my GM friends didn't like, Jordan Love. Atlanta just stayed put. Kirk Cousins is 36. What if Kirk Cousins coming back, and he's never been mobile, what if he comes back off this Achilles surgery at 36 and he's less mobile? Does Pennix look like a horrible pick then? What if Kirk Cousins gets hurt again? 66 quarterbacks. 66 quarterbacks played last year. It is the only position worth over a point. In the worst division in football, having the best backup in the league is a catastrophe? This is something else nobody's talking about. Kirk Cousins, and we think it was a good pickup, is going to win the division. It's a good roster. Well, this is a great quarterback class, and Atlanta has a top 10 pick. Next year's not a very good quarterback class, and the chances are Atlanta is going to win too many games to have a top 10 to 15 pick. So would you rather them pick a linebacker who's not worth half a point, Kirk Cousins gets hurt or doesn't look good in camp, you think it's a bad pick then?
Okay, he's missing the forest for the trees here. We can look at it that way, absolutely. And I'm not going to even say that that's 100% the wrong way to go about it. But the question is what do you expect? What do you want the Falcons to be? If you're a Falcons fan or the GM front office, wherever, it's like, what did you expect to do? When you first signed Kirk Cousins, was your idea is that, hey, this roster is pretty good. We got a new coach. You know, we got a new OC in here. We're ready to go. Let's go. We're going to be able to make moves. We just need a competent quarterback. We are trying to do our own version of the 49ers here. Now, and Kirk Cousins can run that offense. He is good enough. They went out and then got Kirk Cousins and paid for him. And so now you have a chance to continue to build that roster up even more. And instead you draft that quarterback. So that's why people are upset about it. And again, I don't ever really feel bad for these players because they make so much money and I understand the business side of things. But I do understand why Cousins is going to be shocked because he had just signed. These other players that he talked about, Favre and Rodgers or whatever, that makes sense because they were thinking down in the future and they didn't just sign that player. You know, Kirk Cousins had a conversation most likely and was like, hey, I'm going to be the starter, right? I know you're drafting. Like, I'm going to definitely be the starter. I'm going to play. And they're like, yes, Kirk, you're our future. We believe we can win with you. So then it's just, that's why he's going to be shocked. So it's a completely different situation here. And make no mistake about it, he's talking about all the positives of drafting the backup quarterback when it all worked out. What about when Garoppolo was drafted and you had, Brady there? That didn't go well. And I'm not saying obviously Kirk Cousins is Brady, but I just think that you're now paying Pennix. And now, you're not paying him. And one of the benefit of drafting a quarterback is that you get him on his rookie deal. But that gets nullified if you're paying Kirk Cousins all that money. So now you're shortchanging your potential for success with Pennix because you're essentially not getting him on a rookie deal because of all the amount of money that you're paying Kirk Cousins. So this isn't a situation where the Chiefs had Alex Smith and then they were able to go out and get a generational talent in Patrick Mahomes, which is who Andy Reid thought that he was going to be. And, that's a different move. Can Penix be a great quarterback? Sure. But even Colin Cowherd consistently said, I don't know about Penix. I don't know about Penix. And I am not in the business of trying to guess who is going to be a successful quarterback in the NFL. Because before, Colin also said J.J. McCarthy would be a good quarterback. And now, as I guess a little bit of time went on, he then, has gone back on that. As I guess all the people that he's talked to kept saying, no, no, no. And now he's, kind of says, no, J.J. McCarthy is not that big dude. So maybe don't move up for him or try to, mortgage your future on him. So it's just, to me, it's such a crapshoot. Everyone thought Sam Darnold was going to be good. Zach Wilson was going to be good. Baker Mayfield was supposed to be an unbelievable talent. And he's a quarterback. So I'm just not going to guess where Penix, where any of these quarterbacks are going to be, quite honestly. Bo Nix, Drake May, doesn't matter. But I am confident in saying that if you draft a young quarterback, a quarterback who needs to be developed, and you do so where you're already paying all this money to someone else, that becomes a lot more difficult. Because we know consistently that once a quarterback gets paid, it's a lot harder to build that team. And historically, once a quarterback gets paid, especially if they haven't won at the beginning, the chances of them winning a Super Bowl is like slim to none. Like, it's pretty outrageous. Like, if you don't win in your first 3-4 years or whatever, and then you get paid, the chances of you winning is virtually none. And I'm not saying that's exactly the scenario with Penix, and maybe there's something more about the contract with Kirk Cousins that I don't know, but because I thought it was $4 million, 4 years, 160 million or 140, whatever exactly was. It's not nothing, which is essentially what you get to do with when you draft a quarterback. Is you are essentially paying them nothing relative to what a quarterback actually commands. If they had to pay Brock Purdy 2 years ago, they would not be able to keep the pieces, the 49ers, that they have. And that's the whole kind of problem where they're like, well, how much money are they going to pay Brock Purdy? Because how are they going to be able to keep these pieces? They already can barely afford to even keep an Ayuk and a Debo and a Kittle and a Christian McCaffrey and Pet. It's like, you can't do it. It becomes problematic. And again, I'm not saying that that's a situation that the Falcons are in because of the way how this all unfolded, but they're closer to that end of the spectrum than we just drafted a rookie quarterback. We don't got to pay him for years. We got money now. We got draft capital. Let's go. So if they were thinking that they were going to draft and get Penix, then I guess I'm just failing to see why they would ever waste a dollar for Kirk Cousins. Because especially in this type of situation, Kirk Cousins is not going, you're not going to be like, well, we're going to have Penix sit behind him and he's going to learn from Kirk Cousins. Nah, I'm not under the impression that that's what Kirk is going to want to do. That's not the way how this unfolded. If he was the quarterback for the Falcons for a few years now, and then you drafted him, Michael Penix, then I could see that. Similar to what happened with Andy Reid and Alex Smith and Patrick Mahomes. So I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong on this. I'm really interested to see what people who have a better sense of the draft than me, because I've admitted this now many times, trying to predict who's going to work in the NFL and who's not is just not my forte at all. It's just not. I never am a fan of these types of predictions. You just have zero idea. And so I kind of look at it from when I'm looking at the draft in terms of that. I try to look at not so much of like, is Pennix going to be a hit or a miss? I try to remove that from the equation and try to say, like, what were the actions that led to this? What were the circumstances that led to this? And if Michael Penix was going to be the ultimate draft that you were going to get, I guess I'm failing why you're going out to get Kirk Cousins then. I'm failing to see how that makes sense. Because I believe you can win with Kirk Cousins. And I get he has the Achilles and this or that, and it's an insurance policy, but like, no, getting Jalen Hurts in the second round was the insurance policy for Carson Wentz. That made sense. Drafting number 8, I don't know. Not to mention, Colin, he was saying about Jordan Love. He had Jordan Love dead to rights and said he was nothing. And make no mistake, Jordan Love sat for a couple years. And you want to say that the Packers are in a good spot right now, you could make the argument that if the Packers maybe traded that pick and got more picks or just picked someone else instead of Jordan Love and built a better team around Aaron Rodgers, they then could have won. They could have made moves. They could have won another Super Bowl. Again, I'm not saying that's what would have happened, but you can't count that out. You can't just say, well, this now makes sense because of the outcome. You can't judge always based on what the outcome was. But those are just my thoughts. I would absolutely love to hear yours. What do you think about Kirk Cousins being stunned? And what do you think about the Falcons as a whole, drafting Pennix and how this all unfolded? Let me know in the comments below. I would absolutely love to hear your thoughts on this one. I read every single comment. So whether we agree or disagree, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I would absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much, and see you next time.